heavy, my heart rate is elevated, and I think I need to pull over and explain to you what this 911 GT3 RS is actually all about. Oh my God. Whew. It's impossible to overstate just how much of a leap forward in terms of lightweighting and aerodynamics this is, even compared to the standard 911 GT3. And of course, it all starts right up here in the bonnet, under which there is no longer a luggage area. Yep, if you want to carry bags, figure it out, because there's a roll cage in the cabin, a front passenger seat, and no boot. In there is now a central radiator, and the objective there is now to handle the cooling up here so that the sides can be freed up for better aerodynamics. And speaking of aerodynamics, there's signs of it all over the place. These wings down here, of course, these that channel air out of the wheel arches, cuts in the front wheel arches here that let air out. These are entirely different doors, by the way, carbon fiber for lightweight, and that's why they don't have that silly flap type door handle as the standard 911. They have the old classic door handles. In fact, the bonnet, the wings, the doors, the roof, and the back engine cover are all carbon fiber. This being the Weissach pack, it has lightweight magnesium wheels. And over to the back, of course, the piece de resistance is this gigantic swan neck wing that towers even over the roof of the car. It's the first time in a road-going 911 that it does that. Now, of course, it's a big wing. It helps with downforce. And it even has a DRS system that reduces drag on the straights, just like an F1 car. And it also serves as an air brake, flips up and helps you stop under intense braking. It's all race car stuff in a road car, and I can't believe we've reached this stage. And it makes such a difference out on the track. And it doesn't stop there. The folks at Porsche's GT division have had their way with the interior too. The interior of the GT3 RS, every bit as focused as the exterior. They've taken the luxurious and techy interior of the standard 992 and focused it, gone at it with a chisel and taken off all the excess. What you get is race text or Alcantara just about everywhere, carbon fiber in the door grabs, these straps rather than door handles. It's all so very, very focused. Even the steering wheel, I think it deserves its own video separately just for all the settings you get to play with on the fly and these gorgeous, gorgeous paddles. The 911 for now at least still has an analog tacho, and I'm so happy for that. In terms of storage, there's not a whole lot. There's a decent sized glove box, a small little place for your cell phone here, and two very tiny door pockets, but who cares, because all you want to do in here is drive. Speaking of which, I'm so happy to see the traditional gear select lever back, not the little toggle switch you get in the Carrera. And of course, this car has the Weissach pack that includes a whole lot of options. And then there are these single piece carbon fiber bucket seats. You can't adjust the backrest angle. You can slide them back and forth mechanically. And there is an electric height adjust. For no extra cost, you can opt for 18-way adjustable comfort seats. But why would you in a car like this? You also get a touchscreen, part digital dials, and auto climate control. And unlike previous GT3 RSs, these can't be removed because they're too integrated into the 992 platform. And frankly, with our typical Indian weather, I'm not complaining. If you want to offset those creature comforts, you can spend an extra 75 lakhs and get the Weissach pack. Apart from giving you exposed carbon fiber and those magnesium wheels on the outside, in here what you get is a carbon fiber roll cage, carbon fiber door grabs, 6-point race harnesses, and these wonderful magnetically actuated magnesium shift pedals. And finally, I'm sure you've noticed the fire extinguishers down there, because race car. Talk about a nice office for the day, right? And with that, let's get back to work, because my office is currently located at the Coast High Performance Center in Coimbatore. This brand new high-speed racetrack has just been given a fresh layer of tarmac, and I can think of no better place to get the most out of what is possibly the ultimate road-legal track car. What's immediately apparent is just how much more serious of a tool this is compared to your common or garden Carrera or even something like a GTS. It's so much stiffer, sharper, heavier in the steering. The assistance is far less and it's also so much pointier. Oh my god. The way this car elevates itself above an ordinary sports car, above its lesser siblings, other 911s, is just unreal. How have they managed to find so much more performance out of the same car? I guess it's because everything is new. They stripped away and thrown out so much of the old car and put in so much more to make it more track ready. Oh. Now ordinarily with a loud car, when talking to the camera for you, I would shift up early and let the revs sort of go a little soft, but not here. Not in a car that goes to 9,000 RPM. I will shout myself hoarse before I let this engine stop singing. And here on the coast racetrack, it's right at home. This is where this car was meant to be driven. I can't imagine doing justice to it on the road. But then again, this is a road car, so I should probably tell you what it's like to drive out on the road, right? Here we go. And immediately one of the GT3 RS's shortcomings comes into play, because realistically, if you want to take your car long distances from your home to the track and vice versa, this is the easiest way. That said, we are determined to drive this road car on the road, but it's not long before we encounter its greatest enemy, a speed breaker. Of course, this is a Porsche, so it has a lot of options, but really the first option you should be ticking on your 911 GT3 RS is the nose lift function. It costs about 6,42,000, but in the scheme of things, not too bad for an essential. With just 100 mm of ground clearance, even with the nose lift active, you have to be extremely careful over speed bumps. And this is a normal sized one. Anything larger than this and it will scrape its belly. So plan your route carefully. Now when they said the GT3 RS is a road car, perhaps our roads are not the roads they had in mind. Yes, the highway going to Salem that we're on right now is relatively smooth. But even here, there are still some surprise potholes, some patchwork repair jobs, and quite a few expansion joints, especially for elevated sections. And I'm not sure if you can tell from there, but things are quite fidgety in here. Yes, I'd love to make an excuse and pretend that it's not so bad really, but who are we kidding? This is a stiffly sprung car. And you can feel every little bit of that when you're out on the road. In this particular case, I don't think the GT stands for Grand Touring. You also have to have the reflexes of a racing driver, even out here on the road, to quickly dodge potholes and road imperfections just in case they come out of nowhere. I mean, the last thing you want was to get a puncture in these really specialized Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2R tires, or worse still, damage one of these beautiful magnesium alloy wheels. And speaking of making sharp steering maneuvers, what you don't notice on the track and you do out here on the road is that there is just a little bit of slack at the straight ahead position. I definitely didn't realize that while we were going around the circuit, but it's not a bad thing. In fact, it's probably for the best, because this firm suspension wide body chassis and huge tires means the car follows the road a lot. The steering is constantly shimming around in your hands, and it's only when you get to about this much of steering movement that it starts to move, but it moves so quickly and accurately once you do that. But other than that, I'm happy to say that they have provided some creature comforts. Yes, this stiff bucket seat is not doing me any favors, but the full Porsche touchscreen is there with all its many features. I've got satellite navigation here in this digital part of the instruments, or I can have it up on the screen there. It even has engine stop-start for some semblance of fuel economy. Can this be your daily driver? Absolutely not. But if you do plot a safe route with few speed breakers between yourself and the racetrack you intend to thrash this around, you absolutely can. So there you go. It is a road car after all. Just not a very good one. So I think let's take it back to where it belongs. Now, if you're one of those spec nerds who looks at this and scoffs going, it's only 525 horsepower and 465 Newton meters, I think. That's nothing. Well, you, sir, are not the person this car is aimed so sharply at. This car's magic is in its 9,000 RPM red line. It's in that massive wing that towers over the roof of the car. And it's in all the active aero going on all over this lightweight carbon fiber intensive bodywork. Did I mention the red line? I mentioned the red line, right? This car, by all rights, should not grip the way it does. I mean, look, it's a rear wheel drive car that's super light. That's on, at the moment, some rather worn out tires. It should be braking traction all the time. But even when you're not pushing it to its absolute fullest, you can tell that the grip level is on another planet. It's rearranging my insides with the G-forces. I'm being held so tightly in this fixed carbon bucket seat. It's winding me at every corner, but if that isn't the full race car experience, I don't know what is. Now, as we roll onto the straight, I've got a sign here that says DRS ready, and I think I am going to hit it. Let's go! DRS active, I can see that. Oh! With DRS on, it just zips in a clean, straight line. It's wow. The brakes feel strong as anchors, hauling you down from whatever speed. Carbon ceramics, of course, so they'll go on for days and days. Now, I'm inclined not to play with too many of the settings, the many settings that this car comes with, because these are the recommended settings from Porsche Motorsport in Germany. The idea is to let the driver adjust each of these settings on the fly for each corner, like in a race car, all in the pursuit of a better lap time. And they're not just on-off switches, each setting has multiple degrees to play with. The turn-in is just so sharp. This car also has rear wheel steering, which just adds to the agility of what is already an incredibly agile car. It really is a case where my limits will be reached long before this car's are. So if I can't tell you what this car's like at 100%, how about we hear it from somebody who actually can? That's right, the man himself was on hand to take us around his own track and tell us what he thinks of the GT3 RS. So this might just be my last opportunity to do this, because at the rate they're going, Porsche will remove the passenger seat from this car in the next iteration. So here it is again from someone who can make the very most of this car, Narain Karthikeyan.
Yeah, I mean, this is the 992 GT3 RS, very track focused car, and it's such a joy to drive on the track. It's almost like you get a race car feel. And it's on 99% drive, you know. So,
wow.
So it has more downforce than the race-bred Super Cup car.
Oh my God.
And of course, we're running on the Michelin Cup Sport tires, so they give you that extra grip. The phenomenal thing is that whenever they make a GT car, you always think it's come to the limit, but now they found a way to get even more performance by adding the active aero package and so on and so forth.
Because the power is not that much more than before.
Yeah,
it's all.
Yeah, for the last 10 years, this engine is developed around 500 plus horsepower. So, but the chassis is developed so much. You have a lot of tools to play with here. The bump and rebound adjustments to the dampers. All of that gives you the extra, performance.
And you find yourself fiddling with that, adjusting that, finding the perfect mix for a track?
Yeah, absolutely. So when you want to, get the car tighter or looser, you have these adjustments which you can play around. And we've been used to it from, Formula One, but, to have all this in a road legal car, just the next level. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable thing.
Exit of turn 2, which is flat.
Right.
It pulls nearly 2G.
Oh my God. I think enough talk. Let's just go for a nice quick one and see what Narain can do. After seeing what the GT3 RS can do in the hands of a professional, what I find even more amazing is that its performance is so scalable. It can accommodate all sorts of skill levels on the track, and it's just as thrilling no matter who's at the wheel. What a machine! I'm going to head out for a final few laps and see if I can wrap my head around it. You know how they say, you should never meet your heroes? I hate that phrase. Always meet your heroes. This time I think I may be a little in over my head about this particular hero. Now you might be thinking, well, here in India, who in their right mind would buy such a car if it's so track focused? Well, the truth is there are quite a few GT3 RS cars in India, at least the older versions. And I've met some of the owners, and they do drive them on the track all the time. So yeah, there is a use case. If all you want to do is drive quickly or turn up to fancy restaurants looking cool, please do yourself a favor and get yourself a Turbo S. In fact, it will be a lot easier for you to get a Turbo S than one of these. However, if you are someone who has access to a racetrack and really doesn't mind putting your car on a truck and taking it there regularly to enjoy it to its absolute fullest, and I know there are some of you out there, my God, there are few vehicles on this planet that aren't race cars that can do things that this car does. Woo! This car may be a lot, and it's definitely not for everybody, but boy, oh boy, is it a hero car. Once again, I've met my hero, and I'm happy that I did. Thank you for watching.